Today, Jack is going to take a look with you deep inside the Brother card reader to show you why it might fail to advance properly.
Count. Our knitting friend has said that the cog driving the card reader is only turning halfway. What we're not sure of is it this cog which actually turns the card reader insertion drum, or is it this cog? Okay, if it's this cog, notice there's a roll pin right in the middle of the cog, and I'll go to the other side, which is a little cleaner. Right there is a roll pin. If this roll pin has broken, which is what it's designed to do, then this cog is turning, but it's not turning this insertion drum for the card. Now, if this is not turning, there is a drive cog underneath this clutch assembly that actually turns this shaft that you can see the yellow goop coming up on.
I'm embarrassed for them to see this.
I know, but you have to identify it somehow. This one has not been deep soaked. It's just been bought and used. Sound familiar? Now watch. As this reverses, you see that this is advancing this card insertion drum. Every time it reverses, it does that. Again, it's not this that's doing it. It's being done from underneath by this drive cog. Now, if this cog only goes halfway, you notice the little pink guy, he only ever goes halfway. I'm going to take him off, and what we're talking about is this clutch stop right here. And it's designed, this is the reversing mechanism, the advance mechanism for the card feeder. Watch when it changes positions, the card feeds. But then it stops, and it's no longer being used for as long as the carriage is going in that direction. When the carriage goes in the other direction, that's when it advances this feeder, and this is what's doing it. Now, for our friend, one thing that can happen is that this piece that I've inserted the screwdriver under can flex up, and we've seen this. It'll flex up to the point where this is not being stopped when it goes around. If that happens, this is not advancing the feeder and stopping. It's continually advancing the feeder, and so it won't work that way. So that's one thing to look at. This should be, if you'll notice, it's at a slight angle down, but it's very
towards that point, is that correct?
Towards the center of the shaft, but you can see it's very flexible, and so it can become bent easily. Now, another thing is this clutch spring. If you'll notice, this piece that I'm indicating here on the surface is eccentric in that it has a wide and a narrow spot to it. So when it goes around, it's flexing these little clutches in and out. Now, if the spring is broken, these guys won't hug this eccentric cam like they're supposed to when they're going around. Now you see them going around this cam so that they're coming back in at this point and they're being held out at that point. That won't happen if this clutch spring is gone. And here is everybody's bugaboo, a circlip right here. If this circlip comes out, it lets this shaft drop down. And if that has happened, then it's not going to successfully drive this cam follower rod right here. These little cam pieces are what move the needle selection rods in here to tell it what needles are supposed to be being
down
used.
where we can't see it right now.
Okay. It's hooked to this shaft.
Oh, I know. It's just that there's no way to get a view of it from
That's fine.
this view.
But if this circlip is gone, this shaft will drop down. It will not engage this rod like it's supposed to. So when you're going in one direction, it'll turn it, and then it won't turn it the other direction. If you'll notice this rod, let me get the glob up. When we change directions, it sits there for a minute till we've changed, and then it goes in the other direction. That's part of this clutch assembly's function, is to help it do that. It goes one direction, then the other direction, according to match the carriage direction back and forth. So if this circlip is gone, if this spring is gone, if this is bent, it can all cause this clutch assembly to malfunction, and therefore your card reader will not function correctly.
Since our knitters are not here to ask for themselves, I'll ask for them. if my knitting machine, when I get into it, is missing this circlip, there's nobody to contact at Brother anymore about it. Who would you get one from, or where would you look?
Fastenal.
Which is a company that
Which
produces fasteners, clips, and things.
Well, it's a open to the public sale of all kinds of hardware.
So what information will they need? Because even if you knew the part number, they wouldn't have that.
No, they won't. Circlips are sold by diameter, and so you can get an assortment pack, which is what I have. And it's got little bitty tiny ones smaller than this to go in your watch and some great big huge ones to go under your faucets. But you can measure this shaft, and it's not the size of this shaft. There's a groove cut in this shaft. But they will know what size circlip goes on a shaft this size, because the relationship between the groove and the shaft is the same.
What kind of equipment do you need to measure? A ruler is not going to be specific.
No, you have to use a micrometer, something that closes on the shaft and then reads the distance between its ends.
And I want to point something out that it took me a while to notice. The whole silver circle is not the circlip. The circlip is the smaller, darker center of the circle.
Right, and I'm moving the circlip.
Jack, we could see that. Good.
I'm moving the circlip. It's often called an E-clip because it looks like a big circular E, and it never covers the complete shaft, otherwise you couldn't pop it on and off.
Right.
Underneath the circlip is a machinery washer that spaces, that I'm turning now. That spaces the shaft.
And of course, if
depth.
the circlip came off, the washer could also be missing.
It could be. It could be.
Now, question number 2. My spring is broken or badly distorted or missing. Where do I go?
I've bought these springs from a supplier, and I'm not sure if it was Lianco or not. But the springs are available. You can also get these springs. This is called a retention spring, in that it is normally one length and it stretches out to pull back is what it does. So it's called a retention spring. And you can actually take a piece of string and go around those circles and go and say, I need a retention spring.
And to whom would you say this?
Fastenal.
Fastenal again. Fastenal does have an online presence?
They do. You can get to Fastenal online. There's also, if you Google springs, they'll come up with a whole page full of people that sell springs. Now, they're going to want to know the diameter of the spring, how many coils per inch, and whether...
And if yours is missing, you don't know.
You don't know. But I've bought these springs from a knitting machine supplier.
I'm sorry, but I don't remember who it was
I don't
either.
remember, but I know they are available.
I tell you what, if we locate where we bought it, we'll add it to the comments on this video.
There you go. That's a good idea. But... so far, we've covered, I think, everything that would keep the card reader from functioning correctly.
I think you missed something that's happened to me that I haven't had you help me with. Down in there, if you ever break a snap or have a little piece of a tool handle chip off or something, it can go in there and block the works. And when you're this far open, you can take tweezers and pull it out. But you can't actually peer down in there with the cover on and see it all the time. Right. So that can be that there is just a physical impediment, a piece of junk. Of course, your knitting room never gets any junk in it, but I fear mine sometimes has.
And I don't know if the camera can see it, but underneath here is a little ratchet pawl. And what it's designed to do is it rides these notches that I'm indicating so that it has that click, 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 click. It's a position indicator pawl, and it lets it move one ratchet at a time. If you'll notice, these are directional. These are not. These are all the same all the way around, and all it is there's a little spring-loaded knob right here. Now that spring-loaded knob can be broken, can be bent, so that it's not just bouncing and indicating that you've moved one notch. It could be impeding the turn of this cog. That's what you're hearing.
Yep, I cannot get the camera where I can see it, but my eyes are down here swiveling on their eye stalks, and it looks very much like a screw sticking up.
It does. It looks like a screw head, but if you move this cog,
And
you hear it clicking because it's got a spring underneath it. But if the spring breaks, or if this bends, it could actually impede this movement rather than just restrict it to one
that's
click at
something
a
to
time.
look for as well.
But you will hear it.
Now, we've never had to replace one of those that I recall. Yeah,
See,
you
you'll
can
hear it.
definitely hear it.
You'll hear it if it's not behaving correctly. It's not making that sound.
Okay, that all you want to say on the subject?
It is now. This
Oops, it isn't.
almost. This 3-position indicator for your card reader telling it what to do also has a piece moving right there. See it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's another piece that you can't see underneath here that moves. Okay, so, and if you'll notice, it moves around that little stop pawl. So if this has come loose from the mechanism that it operates, that also
It could be in the way.
it could be the impediment that's
I
keeping
want
it from
to
turning.
make a point here. We're looking at a Brother 260, but almost all Brother card readers are just like this one. With one exception, we discovered the really old ones. An 820 has 2 positions. It's the same stuff, but this one has
Right.
3,
Right.
and that one has 2.
It only
There,
yeah.
3, 2, 1, and it goes there. However, other than that, they are close to identical.
Yes, they operate pretty much the same way on all of them.
Alrighty.
Then maybe that'll help.